Naming the survival spiral was never about escaping it. It's about ending self-blame. The reinhabiting spiral is not the opposite of survival. It's what becomes possible when survival no longer is in the lead. The reinhabiting spiral interrupts the predictability of the survival spiral. This is where we notice, pause, orient, soften, return, stay. Not all at once, not perfectly every time, but honestly. You're listening to Reweaving Systems from Nervous to Regulated. I'm Jana Shalom, educator, multidimensional weaver, and your real-time nervous system master regulator. This is not a podcast. This is an attunement lab and the audible expression of a living transmission called Weaving Legacy. Here we move through a living sequence, a truth that shakes something loose. Then the pause. Feel our bodies, the bracing, the breath, the return. We don't regulate perfectly, we regulate together. And once we're back with ourselves, we name the systems that taught us to disconnect in the first place. Because programs don't change people. Regulated people change people. This is where we shift from the survival spiral to the reinhabiting spiral, where we learn to come home to ourselves in real time, where the sanctuary garden door opens from the inside. If your nervous system has been waiting for a place to relax into truth at a pace that it actually needs, then welcome home. This is the voice of a living lineage. Let the transmission call us back into our bodies. Let the weaving root into our daily lives. This is Reweaving Systems from Nervous to Regulated. I'm Jana Shalom. Today's episode arrives on the last quarter moon, a time for integration, discernment, and gentle release. This is where we gather what we've learned and let it settle into the body, not as rule, not as a technique, but as a lived knowing. So far, we've named the nervous system. We've named the survival spiral. We've learned how to notice the brace, and we learned how to orient with Polaris when return isn't available. But we haven't yet named what we're moving toward. Arc 4 of our first Moon Loom aims to offer that today. There is a survival spiral, and there is a reinhabiting spiral. One pulls us out of ourselves, the other brings us back in. One is shaped by extraction, and the other is shaped by belonging. The survival spiral follows a predictable sequence: brace, override, perform, disconnect, repeat. It's not dramatic, but it's efficient, and for many of us, it kept us alive. We could not talk about returning to ourselves without first honoring survival. We cannot shame a body out of a spiral it entered to stay alive. Naming the survival spiral was never about escaping it. It's about ending self-blame. The reinhabiting spiral is not the opposite of survival. It's what becomes possible when survival no longer is in the lead. The reinhabiting spiral interrupts the predictability of the survival spiral. This is where we notice, pause, orient, soften, return, stay. Not all at once, not perfectly every time, but honestly. Regulation is not calm. Regulation is reinhabiting. It's the act of coming back to ourselves after we had to leave. In this lineage, we have companions. When return is available, we say shalom, come home. When return is not available yet, we say Polaris, orient my awareness. One is for reunion, one is for direction. Both keep us in relationship with ourself. Reinhabiting does not happen in isolation. It's supported in relationship. And it happens through what we call attunement. Attunement is what allows the reinhabiting spiral to occur between people. Attunement is not fixing. It is not calming someone down. It is not managing someone else's feelings. Attunement is the act of allowing someone else the space and grace to call themselves home. Attunement sounds like, I see you. I'm not rushing you. You don't have to perform here. You're allowed to take your time. Attunement removes pressure. Pressure keeps bodies braced. Attunement does not tell us how to regulate. Attunement does not fix anyone. Attunement is not asking someone to regulate in the way that we would prefer. Attunement allows people to regulate in ways that are actually supportive to them. Regulation cannot happen where performance is demanded. Reinhabiting doesn't mean everything feels good. It means we stay present with ourselves. We stop abandoning ourselves. And we move with awareness instead of urgency. We allow orientation to be our guide. Reinhabiting is not a destination. It's a practice of staying with ourselves, especially when it's tough. When we live in the survival spiral, systems that benefit from our dysregulation stay intact. But when we live in the reinhabiting spiral, those same systems start to crack. Because systems built on extraction require our disconnection to function. And when nervous systems change, systems change. We don't graduate out of survival forever. We spiral again and again, each time coming back with a few more skills than the time before. Sometimes we brace, sometimes we orient, sometimes we return, and sometimes we rest. This is not failure. This is what it means to be a human being. Integration becomes an embodiment invitation. Embodiment integration looks like noticing the brace sooner, staying kinder when in the thick of the spiral spin, choosing repair over performance, and letting the body set the pace, even if that means we need to go slower. It looks quieter than what the transformation culture promises, and that's a good thing. Sometime today, just once, ask yourself, where am I now? In survival, orientation, or maybe even reinhabiting? No fixing, no judging, just noticing. The noticing is the reinhabiting spiral in motion. We interrupt the survival spiral when we activate the reinhabiting spiral. Not pushing, not performing, but by returning again and again to our bodies, which have carried us through the spiral before. Shalom, come home. Polaris, orient my awareness. When one person reinhabits themselves, they become safer to be around. When many people do this, systems that rely on our disconnection lose their grip, not through force, but through our own presence with ourselves. In summary of this Moon Loom arc, here is what we've threaded. What happens after orientation? How return becomes possible again? How we practice coming home without forcing it, and understanding that we have body technology that is here to guide us and lead us back to ourselves time and time again. Because what we can orient toward, we can eventually return to. And if we're noticing, orienting, naming, and choosing not to abandon ourselves, then we are really already entering the reinhabiting spiral. This is what return looks like in real life. It's not sudden, it's not perfect, but it is relational. And when return is available, the body softens even a little bit. we remember where home is. We call her by her name. Shalom, come home. Here's your call to action for some time during this next week. Ask, what helps me stay in relationship with myself? Staying in relationship might look like slowing down instead of pushing through, choosing a smaller response versus an overreaction, letting a feeling be present without acting on it, without trying to resolve it, but just allowing it to sit within your system, or returning to your body once you've felt the brace and noticed that you've left. There is no finish line. There's only a return. This affirms return is a practice, not a performance. And now our threading for today has come to a close, not because everything has been resolved, but because some things can be set down. We don't carry forward which no longer belongs. We let it loosen gently. This is how space is made. In this next cycle, we turn towards what comes after orientation. In the last arc, we learned how to stay with ourselves when return wasn't present, how to orient without forcing calm, how to respect survival without abandoning ourselves again. Orientation helped us stay in relationship. The next arc explores how return becomes possible again, not by demand, but by readiness. It's about removing the pressure to change, naming what has been held in the body, and understanding how safety allows return to emerge on its own. We are not asking the body to move. We are learning how the body knows when it's ready to come home. And in the next episode, we explore what happens after orientation, how the nervous system softens in its own time, how coming home happens through small, honest openings rather than pressure or demand. This episode is about practicing return without forcing it, about recognizing readiness instead of pushing past it, and about trusting that what we orient toward, we can eventually return to. This is where the next spiral begins. You just moved through Reweaving Systems from Nervous to Regulated, the Nervous System Attunement Lab, where regulation happens in real time, where we take a breath, we feel our bodies, not perfectly, but honestly. We notice what shifted, what softened, what resisted, what came online even for a moment. If something stirred awake today, that isn't a sign that you're done. That's a sign that you're practicing the slow, steady work of returning to yourself. This work moves in spirals, not straight lines. We don't regulate once, we return again and again. Each time a little deeper, each time with a little bit more permission. And if today pushed you past your edges, that's part of the path. Edges are where remembering begins. This isn't content we're moving through. This is a living frequency, a lineage-held transmission that reshapes us as we walk it. To keep walking the path of somatic knowing, mythic remembering, and lineage weaving, meet us at Journey the Weave on Substack. And for deeper embodiment and spirit-born insight, enter Journey the Spirit Weave, our paid Substack tiered. Remember, our bodies are not the problem. Our nervous systems are not the obstacle. They are portals we are relearning how to trust. And if just one of us practices coming home to ourselves, systems begin to change. We'll see each other at the next episode. Until we weave again.